So I'm wondering if you knew that in Buddhism, it's believed that over the many millennia of time, that there have been a number of Buddhas and that there will be more to come in the future. This was new to me. The Buddha, Shakyamuni, the person that we look to, our teacher who lived 2,500 years ago, he's not the only Buddha. He, in fact, has predicted that the Buddha to follow him would be Maitreya, the Buddha of love. Thich Nhat Hanh has spoken about this, and he wondered how the future Buddha may appear in the world. He supposes that perhaps it won't be as an individual like it has been in the past, but may appear as a Sangha. The next enlightened being, the Buddha of love, may be a community that practices together mindfully. I love this idea, especially in a world as divided as ours, and that's at the moment full of so much suffering. Maybe this offers a new perspective for a way of being in the world. And this is what I want to explore a bit today. What does it mean that the Sangha could be the next Buddha? I can't provide the answers, I know that, but I'd like to ponder the idea together and wonder how even the possibility might support our practice now. On Monday, Jay spoke really beautifully about the three refuges and about Sangha specifically being refuge in relationship. It's a place of care and connection where open-heartedness is felt, where support is offered and it's received, and that all of this provides a sense of safety, a shelter in some way. That's powerful, just that. Many of us who've been coming to this space regularly for over 2 years now, probably moving on towards 3 years, can feel the strength of Sangha. In the company of like-minded people, we relax and we trust and we deepen in our practice. We're becoming spiritual friends, Kalyana Mita. When asked by Ananda, his trusted disciple, if a spiritual friend was half the holy life, the Buddha replied, "No, Ananda. Spiritual friends are all of the holy life." The way I interpret that statement is that a community of spiritual friends is not only refuge, but also is an opportunity for deep, deep practice. The practice of waking up through relationship and in community. We know that the Buddha himself instructed his early followers to live in community, to work and practice together in an intentional way. He knew its power to transform, how much could be learned about ourselves in the company of like-minded friends. So I think the question for us is, how do we do this? Thich Nhat Hanh, he describes a community that's committed to the practice of mindful living in all activities and among all of their members. It's a place where we learn to hold space for each other, to respect each other, even in our differences, to listen deeply, to bear witness to another, to really see the truth of the way things are inside us and between us as we relate to another. And the Brahma Viharas, they are the grounding. Friendliness, compassion, joy and equanimity are fundamental to this kind of community. Because really, only when we're rooted deeply in these heart practices can an atmosphere of safety, openness, and care arise. And that allows us to begin to relax into who we really are. And, let's not fool ourselves. There can be resistance to practicing in relationship. It can so easily bring us up against our edges. It can show us so clearly the places we want to hide, the places we want to avoid, the places where we can't face what's true for us. And we can't face having someone else see what's true for us. Whether it's jealousy or envy or anger or shame or fear, whatever your edge is, it will come up at some point in interacting with another person. And that feels so vulnerable. So, our greatest longing is to be seen by others. And at the same time, one of our biggest fears is to be seen as we truly are. There is a real feeling of nakedness, I think, when our private, edgy places are seen by others. In a community, intentional community where trust and safety are present, maybe this is the place where we can begin to open to these edges. Maybe we can feel the vulnerability and hold it, giving ourselves the opportunity to know this in ourselves, while at the same time finding more compassion for others who may also be feeling this kind of vulnerability. So when we practice in this way, we begin to see that we're not really separate in any way from one another. We feel the same pains. We want the same things. We depend on each other. We influence and impact each other. We're deeply connected to each other. The image I like is of a flock of geese flying in formation, together as one, providing safety for all. It's beautiful, I think, this possibility of waking up together. It's the deepest healing we can offer ourselves. And there's more. Thich Nhat Hanh not only supposed that the Buddha of love may be a community, but also that we might consider more broadly what that community is. Perhaps it is like this Sangha, but it also might be another community group, a city, even a nation. In each of these groups, we can find what Desmond Tutu calls our common humanity. It's what Thich Nhat Hanh calls our Buddha nature. Buddha nature in every being. It's not exclusive to being Buddhist. Each of us carries Buddha nature. And when we can connect from this place, we can find a way to practice together. So I invite you to think about that for a moment. Each of us are part of a lot of communities. It might be just yourself and a partner. It might be you and a family. It might be work colleagues, book groups, neighborhoods. And the scale just increases. We belong in so many ways in our city, in our country. And any of these could be considered Sangha. Native Americans, they include the earth as part of their Sangha community. They recognize how they're supported by the earth. It's sacred to them, and it's reflected in how they live in relationship with the earth. So when I think this way, when I think so broadly, I can feel more easily the seamlessness of practice. This is not something that happens just on the cushion or even just in my Buddhist Sanghas, but it's something that expands into all aspects of my life. I'm reminded of the line by Rumi that says, I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not ever complete the last one, but I give myself to it. Can we give ourselves to it too? If community, however we define it, becomes the place that we practice, can we let go a bit of the individual effort to find freedom and commit to Sangha? Can we commit to the forward movement of the community together, learning together, working together as a whole? I don't know, but this is how it may unfold if the next Buddha truly is the Sangha. And personally, I find this perspective really hopeful. We're in the midst of a really difficult time in the world, and there is a path towards less suffering. And working with Sangha might just be that path. So I want to leave you with a few more questions that you can ponder on your own through your day. Maybe the Buddha of love is already present on earth. Who knows? Do you think that we could recognize him or her or them? And maybe we're part of that community. How would that inspire your practice? Let's see as we transition to our sitting. Thank you all.